Greetings, visionaries. This is your host, the INFJ Visionary. And I've got some stuff that I thought we could talk about today. I did scan. I scanned the feed, the INFJ feed. I'm coming up with a good system, and I think we're good at that. People underestimate the INFJ ability to craft good systems. We're starting with intuition, of course, and then following up with the logic. And many times our approach to logic isn't to everyone else's liking, is it? Anyway, yeah, that kind of leads to the topic of emotional intelligence, right? And I don't think we've addressed that here. And, I don't have much to say about it except that I've always been emotionally intelligent, and I've often had to be around people that were not. And I guess the only thing you can say about that is that in any situation where you're exhibiting a higher degree of consciousness than the other party, it is incumbent upon you to just deal with it, okay? Because they can't help being what they are, and they can't help not seeing the things they can't see. And we talked about that somewhat in our last broadcast, and I think that's going to become a theme increasingly as when I was a young dragon, many, many, many years ago, we were introduced, like, the things that media-wise that we were introduced to were far more limited, but there was a much broader expanse of things, and everyone was sort of on the same page. That's something that's going to become increasingly lost as everybody's sort of just honing in on their own thing, and I saw a video on YouTube recently. It was, all the stuff that happened last year video, and some of this nectar they left as an offering. I'm going to have a bit. What, half the stuff that happened, sorry for the sniffle, a lot of smoke around this volcano. I have the stuff that he was talking about. I had first time I'd heard of it. I'm in my own zone, especially even more so isolated by living on an island, a volcanic island. Anyway, I think most INFJs exhibit a high degree of emotional intelligence, and because it's in our DNA, we're wired up for other people, and yeah, I went right into the burden being on you. That just puts the burden on you all the time. People don't understand that is a bit of a drain, and a lot of times why we need to retreat, right? Yeah, what was that other thing I saw? Oh yeah, Mysteries of the INFJ. And I thought, yeah, that's working that angle. But this touched on something else I was saying in the last broadcast, and that is that I think the fascination for INFJs with INFJ content, I mean, far and away, it's got to be the bulk of the Myers-Briggs related content on YouTube, is because of our inability to really see ourselves that clearly, which means, especially when we're younger, I'm gonna put that caveat on, because after a while, enough dust sort of sticks to that inner self that you can see a form. It takes on a form based on experience, right? And that is one of the reasons why they talk about we are creatures of NI. We're creatures of the inward-looking intuition, which is itself a mysterious quality that we can use when we're young. We don't even realize that's what it is. No one's telling us that's what it is. This is just our way of navigating the world. It's a bit like being a blind person that has to use their other senses more, and in our case it's just that sense we use to navigate things, and that makes us a mystery to ourselves, because many times what we're feeling is true, is contrary to what everyone else is believing, which is a big time drag. Other people around us don't like that at all. Yeah, and they're gonna want to hear some good reasons why, and your deep intuitions about things, and getting philosophical may not be the solution they're looking for. So extra mystery there to other people. So yeah, I guess the appellation fits, but don't get all hung up on this your mysterious stuff, because the things that motivate you are the things that motivate everyone else. You want some love, you want some attention, yeah, you want to have some nice food sometimes, and a nice place to sleep, and a secure living situation, and some meaningful work, and loving a partner, and a great relationship. And wow, does that make you different or special? No, but what does make you a bit different and special in many ways is the fact that you're just wired in this kind of mysterious way. That's your primary antenna for dealing with stuff. So yeah, and that leads us to the other thing I was going to talk about, which is our nature as oracles or visionaries. Now, I have heard it said that the INTJ is more visionary in their approach, and I've never I've had acquaintances with INTJs, but I can't say I've had. I probably did when I was younger. I think I had a friend who was an INTJ. Um, but I've heard they're more visionary than we are. But that obviously the visionary thing ties into the mystery thing in a sense, because it's all coming from the introverted intuition, which is a bit different from extroverted intuition. I have been in close relationships and friendships with many extroverted intuitives. My wife, her second function is extroverted intuition. So I know how they like to navigate. That's, in fact, for someone like an INFP, that's their whole way of dealing with the external world. And frankly, in some ways, they have a greater sense of what reality is than we do. And that's maybe a topic for another broadcast. But are they as visionary as we are? I don't think so. And maybe so, INTJs, you'll have to speak up and you have to tell us about your visions a bit more. But I think we see and feel things coming, and the feel thing is the primary way. There's a lot of times that we're actually perceiving the future in images and deep feelings and knowings that are pre-vocal. And now I'm lucky to be the type of INFJ that can speak fairly well. We have to have some you knows and some ums in there and things like that. But I'm able to draw from the well in real time. Although there is a comment on the channel somewhere that said I speak very slowly, and this is because I don't have a script. Although today I did have a few little guiding ideas, yeah. And the last, so the visionary thing, it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? To see the future, to be able to foretell things. And when you do, though, listen, learn to listen. Speaking as an wise old dragon that's been through my fair amount of nonsense in this world. When your intuition's telling you something's coming, it's coming. Get ready. Get as ready as you can, you know. And that leads us to healing and healing of old wounds. And this is, that ties into being an old dragon too. The wounds, the scars, and the stabs of all the people that don't like dragons and don't want us around. And who can blame them, It's hard to accommodate a dragon sometimes. But one thing I want to say about that, and I'm not going to tell you who you are, like I said in the last video. I'm not into that. I'm not going to tell you how you feel, but I will tell you what I know is wisdom. So attend, And if you have old wounds that you're harboring, you need to just let it go and forgive. And I'm not coming from some kind of neo-Christian perspective here. I'm just coming from a common sense, logical, intuitive perspective. And the thing is, to harbor any old wounds, no matter how justified, attaches you to that person in a negative way, and you don't need that. You need to be free, especially in 2026. That's it for today, INFJ. Until I come back, keep on keeping on.